Hello, friends. Surely you have heard more than once from your friends something like this: I don't understand at all, I don't know what the money I earn is spent on. It's like sand slipping through my fingers, slipping away without a trace. How can I learn to feel my expenses? How much of my income should I save as a percentage to maintain an acceptable standard of living and not become a miser? After all, everyone's income is different. Is there some universal principle that you could use as a guide? Friends, I'm not going to tell you now about the need to write down all your income and expenses, enter them into a special Excel spreadsheet, and that this is a useful life hack for those whose money doesn't stay long and seems to slip through their fingers. This recommendation, although effective, unfortunately requires internal discipline, fanatical and scrupulous adherence. To learn to feel the pulse of your expenses, you should understand your psychology. I have already mentioned in my first video on this channel the book The Richest Man in Babylon and the well-known principle of pay yourself first. This is a very important principle, because the habit of saving on the day you receive your salary, the savings rate, first of all determines whether you will become rich or not. What percentage of income should it be? 10% is the minimum, the so-called hygienic level. What suits absolutely all people with absolutely any level of income? A person with both an extremely low and an extremely huge income. The level of 10% is the share that, according to statistics, most people spend on absolutely unnecessary things, irrational spending. Even the poorest person will be able to relatively painlessly direct 10% of their income to investments. For example, supporters of the fashionable movement FIRE, early retirement, can use up to 50%, 80% and even more. But these are already extreme ways of accumulating capital, which, of course, are not suitable for everyone. There is a hygiene level of 10%, and there is FIRE, a youth movement based on early retirement, for example at 35 or 40 years old, and living off capital. But this share, how much to put aside, the savings rate, everyone chooses independently, based on their financial goals and characteristics of character, temperament, external circumstances of life. I know people who manage to put aside 80 to 90% of their income for many years. The main thing is that this does not turn into a mania and some kind of unhealthy story. The higher the income, the easier it is to put aside a larger share, the higher the savings rate. It is harder to cut your expenses if you only buy the bare necessities anyway. But at the same time, if, earning millions, you eat cheap sausages from the supermarket and still save on everything, you are just an idiot. And vice versa. If you spend everything without observing the minimum level of financial hygiene, you are also an idiot. The main principle that should be is proportionality of expenses. Remember, with the increase in income it is worthwhile to smoothly and rationally increase the level of your expenses to a certain reasonable level. Why to a certain level? Because there is some objective limit of the quality of life, above which even an increase in expenses does not bring a significant increase in the quality of life of a person. Let's say, a new car for $50,000 and for $500,000 have approximately the same level of comfort, functions. In both there will be climate control, comfortable leather seats, a steering wheel and 4 wheels, and the differences do not affect the comfort and quality of your movement from point A to geographical point B. All the best resorts and hotels in the world have a certain limit of service. It will not get better either in some inexpensive Turkish hotel or in a very expensive hotel, for example, in the Maldives. Therefore, all extremely wealthy people, as a rule, have reached a certain level of their spending and the growth of consumption stops, simply because an even higher level of spending will not rationally make your life sweeter or more comfortable than it already is. You will not eat a kilogram of sturgeon caviar and get even more pleasure. You will not enjoy what you already have at a certain level of consumption. If we consider only material needs, at the lower levels of Abraham Maslow's pyramid, then a person essentially needs little: clean clothes, a roof over his head, good nutrition. For example, billionaires Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg prefer to wear ordinary cheap single-color t-shirts, cotton, and there is simply no point in increasing spending on some super expensive suits. Elon Musk even lives in a rented modular house, in a box located next to his office, and sleeps on a pull-out work couch. World-famous investor and billionaire Warren Buffett lives in a modest small house, bought for only $70,000, and drives a simple old car. That is, the standard of living, quality and level of spending have their own certain limit and rational framework, above which there is absolutely no sense in rising. The craving for excesses and luxury is usually expressed by those who did not earn this money themselves, and easy money came to them relatively easily. What was obtained without effort is usually not appreciated by a person. Thus, the problem is not that we spend a lot or a little, the problem is that we often spend disproportionately. If you, for example, rent housing for $600 a month, then it is probably strange to spend, say, the same amount on buying coffee in a coffee shop every day, $600 a month, or spend the lion's share of your income on entertainment. This will be disproportionate and irrational. Each person has their own values, but still, if you want to be rich and wealthy people, expenses should be commensurate and proportionate. It is wrong to buy an overly expensive new car from the showroom, and then save on lunches for many years and not be able to, for example, buy yourself quality food or clothes. It is simply disproportionate and stupid. The same thing, on the contrary, if you are very rich and fly to a premium resort on vacation, to a hotel costing several $1,000s a night, and at the same time get to this hotel from the airport on a cheap minibus or bus, pushing among other passengers. This will also be disproportionate spending. As soon as you start tracking your expenses and notice the presence of such imbalances, it will be easier for you to optimize them and free up extra resources that can easily be directed to investments. To paraphrase one well-known proverb, I will note, you may not be a trader, businessman or professional financier, but you are obliged to invest. Every day, absolutely any person, regardless of age, gender, income, should think about investments and invest. In the end, even when you choose what to buy for dinner today in the supermarket, unhealthy semi-finished products or fresh vegetables, you are also making a kind of investment. But these will be investments in your health, your future. When you choose inexpensive but high-quality clothes, you are investing in your well-being. In fact, everyone invests, but the success, effectiveness, of these investments varies for different people. Even getting married successfully, getting a good education, this is also a kind of investment. I always give an example. There is such a specialty as accounting. Any enterprise, any business has income and expenses. Absolutely the same thing happens at the family level, at the household level. How successful are you as a person financially? If you are so smart, then why are you so poor? Just as there are unprofitable enterprises, bankrupts, there are also unprofitable, unsuccessful people, unsuccessful households. And the secret of wealth and prosperity is exactly the same here. Reduce your expenses, spend less, get more income, create assets rather than liabilities. Capitalism penetrates all spheres of life. Family, household, personal finances. This is exactly the same model as a business, absolutely the same universal economic laws operate there. If you spend money thoughtlessly, on whatever, make impulsive purchases, then soon your financial well-being, to put it mildly, will be undermined. There are only two ways, either increase income, or reduce expenses. Investments themselves are designed only to preserve capital, to protect it from inflation, but the capital itself, its body, the body of capital, is earned exclusively from your main job. Money is earned only by creating goods and services, that is, benefits for other people, and nothing else. If someone mistakenly believes that speculation or investments on the stock exchange in the absence of competencies or insider information can make you rich, help to form capital, then this is a big mistake. This is one of the most important misconceptions. Capital is made only outside the stock exchange and any investment instruments, exclusively from the difference between income and consumption. In other words, the key basis for capital formation is the savings rate, financial discipline, psychology, in a word, everything that I talk about, including on this channel. The key to wealth lies exclusively in psychology, in the elimination of excess consumption, and not in what deposits, shares, bonds or other investment instruments to use. All this is only needed to preserve capital, to transfer it to the future. But it is most likely impossible to earn capital passively. It is only necessary to earn it actively, often at the main job, bringing real benefit to people. This is for those who still have rose-colored glasses and think that they can earn, to make capital only on the stock exchange. Only outside the stock exchange, by creating benefits and blessings for people, only this way and no other way. This means that the savings rate is a key parameter that you and I can influence, in addition to the growth of our active income. In addition, of course, to professional growth, career, salary increase, and so on. But there is a separate video on the channel about investments in more detail, which is called, What to Invest Money In. Investments for beginners and for everyone. Subscribe to this channel, because there will be a lot more interesting and useful things on it. Thank you all for your attention and see you soon.